Hi, it's Arwen. Welcome to my channel, Arwen Loves Cats. Today I am doing something a little bit differently. I wanted to do a vlog for my Disneyland Paris visit. Now, I wasn't able to record while I was in Disneyland Paris. It was just too hard for me. It was my first trip. I wanted to see what everything was and enjoy it. And so no videos. I do have photos of things that I took that I will intersperse in my vlog. But because it's just me telling you my experiences, I thought it might be fun to take you with me on a walk. So I am trying this out. Let me know what you think. So to give you an idea, Disneyland Paris as my first visit, it was in May, and I went on a Sunday. I traveled with my husband, and so day one, I'm going to tell you about Sunday. We had an early flight. So we were up at like 3 to get to the airport, and our flight was around 6 o'clock. We did arrive around 7:30. It took about an hour to figure out how to get to the train so to schedule the ticket, and it wasn't actually hard to find the train station. We took the TGV, we took the fast train. There's a lot of options that you can take. There's shuttles, there's Uber. We went ahead and went with the TGV, which is a high-speed train, and it was hard to find the platform. But we managed, and we arrived before the park opened. The park opened at 8:45, and we decided to go ahead and put our luggage, to check into the hotel early and get rid of our luggage and head back to the park. That took about an hour. We stayed at the B&B hotel. It was a budget hotel. I will not lie to you. We were focused on a budget, and so we did travel on a budget. So that meant, for example, we traveled with only carry-on luggage. For a 3-day trip, it was fine. It made it a little bit tight for souvenirs, but I think that was not bad. But for pins, there was room. Yay! I did buy a couple souvenirs. I will share them with you as we go. But so like I said, B&B was a budget hotel. It took about an hour to get there, to check in, and to come back. The shuttle worked fine. There's a lot of mixed reviews on the shuttle. We always managed to get in. It was often full. And what can I say? Some people said it didn't travel regularly. There was a schedule. We didn't have a problem, but it was definitely full. And so, like I said, it took about an hour. We made it back to the park. And you have to know, in Paris, the Disneyland Paris, they have a lot of security. You actually don't arrive onto the park property until you pass through security, and security has people who search you if necessary. It's like airport security. You put your bags on a scanner, and I read it, but I forgot to tell my husband, they do not allow selfie sticks. So the camera that we brought, he was going to take some photos, had a battery pack that looks like a selfie stick. And so they said, no, you can't bring that in, which started the day out just right. So they do have, if we had realized this, we would have saved the trip to the hotel with our bags. There is in the train station at Disneyland Paris, which, by the way, is not named Disneyland Paris. It's called Chessie, I think, which is weird. In America, you would definitely just call that the Disneyland Paris stop. But, so I digress. So they did have lockers. That must be an issue that comes up a lot, because they had really small lockers just for batteries, things and selfie sticks and that sort of thing. So next time we will definitely not bother checking in first. We will put all of our bags right there. If we go next time, I hope we go again. So that was kind of a bummer. So we actually, like I said, I had my cell phone, and I took photos. and I tried to keep copious notes so that I could share the details. So you get through security, and then you're on property, and you're not actually in the park yet. That's just you have to show your tickets at a separate entrance. And because this is something that is different from Disneyland, which is where my husband and I have been, Disneyland Resort in California allows you to rent mobility devices that are electric. So you sit on it, it goes about 6 miles an hour, I think, walking speed, and it helps because the area is huge. And I have a disability, so I can't actually walk or stand that long. So we need that when we go. Now, Disneyland Paris does offer wheelchairs, but they're not electric, and so we were both kind of concerned about the walking that would be involved for me. But I do, like I said, because I have a disability, I have a card, and I showed it at the entrance. You request through the website, Premier Access is what it's called, and it's for people with disabilities. And I was able to get a card. They took my photo and everything, and it meant that I basically didn't have to stand in line anywhere, and that made a huge difference for my visit. They had, even at shops had their own little area where you could stand. Like, they had a sign with the disability sign, and you would just go and you have your little card and you would show it. So I don't think I waited more than 5 minutes for any ride, and I can take my husband with me. You can take, I think, up to 4, but we were only 2. So that made a huge difference. Let me take a breath here. I'm out of breath. So this is a little area on a canal by where I live, and I thought it would make a fun background to show you. I'm trying to find maybe a bench to sit on. I need to sit down. Speaking of disabilities. So that was getting into the park. So I got my disability card, I arrived in, and it was, I think, about 10 o'clock at that point. And I knew from a pin trading friend that, for limited editions in Disneyland Paris, they have release dates. And these release dates, they require an online registration. It doesn't cost any money, but you do need to reserve a spot to pick up a pin. And that happened the day before. So I was too late for any limited edition pickups, but I did hear from a friend that the Pueblo Trading Post, which is where they sell pins and they have a big pin trading board, is only open on the weekends. And since my trip started on Sunday, that was the only day that I had to go there. So I was there Sunday, I was there Monday, and I was there Tuesday. We flew back on Wednesday. So no park on Wednesday, but I did go to Disney Village, but that's in another vlog. So I headed right over to Pueblo Trading Post, and it was a really cute little shop. The cool thing is I have some photos of the pins that were available. It's totally different from what you see in like Disneyland or Walt Disney World pin trading videos. It was relatively small. And I was surprised at the variety because I guess I expected more like older pins. It seems like they really, like every month they release new pins. And I usually have a pickup through Stu Pins on open editions, which I realize now, like if I want a pin, I should do it when they release because they don't seem to hang around a lot. They have a couple pins that come back, but it's not like they just are in stock. So that was interesting to find out. And then outside the Pueblo Trading Post, they had pin traders. So just pin traders who were in the park. You obviously, if you're going to trade there, you need a park entrance. But they were set up, and I was able to make a few trades, which was super exciting for me. I also traded, my very first trade was from the pin board in the Pueblo Trading Post. So that was super exciting. Back to the plane situation. When I went through security in our hometown, there was an issue with my pins. They didn't know what it was. I forgot to take it out of my bag. I didn't show them, and they had to look at them. So I knew for flying back that I would definitely want to show them all my pins. There wasn't an issue with declaring any kind of value. I just had them with me. So that was, I did want to share that. I did have over 60 pins with me. I had my Pinfolio show, which included all of the pins that I was planning to trade with other pin traders, and I had 2 mini boards with me. I also printed out a mini board Pingo card that I tried to fill. I'll be honest with you, it was not like in videos. I had to ask everywhere I went if there was a pin board. I had to keep my eyes open everywhere I went if there was a cast member with a pin lanyard. If they had a pin lanyard, it was for trade. But like the only really big board on Sunday was at the Pueblo Trading Post. I will show you a photo. It was huge. And of course I was there too early. I was there around 11, and they said they brought it out in the afternoon, which they did. So when I did want to say one thing that was funny is we traveled on Air France, and my husband needed a Band-Aid. He cut himself in security, so putting everything back together. So I asked for a Band-Aid in German because I was in Germany, and they said, English, please. So I thought that was hilarious. That's how you knew you were on Air France. So English was no issue, of course. They do have a main street that leads to the castle in Disneyland Paris. So that was really cool. And the Pueblo Trading Post is in Frontier World. So that was, of course, the first thing that I did when I got there. One thing that was kind of sad but exciting, or exciting but sad, I would put it that way. There was a pin trader there who had the Winnie the Pooh attraction map puzzle chaser, which I really needed. And she was looking for puzzle pieces that I didn't bring them with me because I wasn't planning on. I didn't think that I would. I brought a few, but I didn't bring all of them. So and I wasn't sure even if I had one that she needed. So we traded. No, I gave her my card with my information, and I was hoping to hear back from her. I haven't heard back from her, so that's definitely didn't happen. So I was excited to see it, but sad that I couldn't trade for it. So after trading on the board at the Pueblo Trading Post, I got a really cool hinge pin, and I got a really cool cast refresh pin. That was on the board, and I was really lucky because normally in Disneyland Paris, this is what I found out while I was there, they trade open edition for open edition, like on the big board. They trade on the big board, they have a row of Vinyl Nations, so you can only trade a Vinyl Nation for another Vinyl Nation. They had a row of cast refresh. I've talked about cast refresh pins before. Those are cast exclusive pins that they release during the pin trading time events, and they've been doing it a while, so they're like over 200, and I started collecting them. I have to do a video. I will do a video to show you that collection. but I'm not sure if I need all of them or if I just want the ones that fit in my collection. I'm still deciding. But at any rate, I was super excited to be able to trade for one of those. But they, on the big board, they only allow you to trade a cast refresh for a cast refresh on the big board. Because it was a small board in the store, I was able to just trade a pin for that pin. I recognized it as a cast refresh, so I went ahead and got it, and I was super excited. And on the big board, they also had limited editions, so you could only trade a limited edition for a limited edition. Now, the cast members, oh, I'm sorry, there's an ugly sign right there. I will take you this way. Now, the cast members who were in charge of pin trading, they knew the pins. Like, they examined the pins, they took them in their hand, they looked them over. They actually rejected, I think, a few pins from, not from me, but from other people. And like, interestingly enough, like in America, we always talk about limited release as sort of, we sort of group it into the limited edition section because it is limited. And in Disneyland Paris, they're like, oh no, a limited release doesn't mean it's limited edition. It just means we count that as an open edition because it's not numbered. They don't actually have any kind of number. It's just when they choose to release it. So I thought that was really interesting. So after I traded at the Pueblo Trading Post in Frontierland, we went ahead and went on rides, and I had to go to Phantom Manor first. That's the haunted mansion in Disneyland Paris, is called Phantom Manor, and it was really neat. It was in French. It was in French and English. I tried to pay attention to what kind of language they offered, and there were, of course, a lot of French visitors and kids, so they did have French, a little bit of English, but it was a little bit more Western in terms of theming than I expected. It was definitely had a lot of the elements that I know and love from Disneyland Resort in California, but they were sort of out of sequence. It wasn't the exact same ride. So that's the first time I've ever been in a Disneyland that wasn't Disneyland Resort. Like, I literally have never even been to Disneyland California Adventureland. I've been to Disneyland when it was open, but I chose, like, we only ever went a day, and so I always chose to go to Disneyland. So that was really, really fun. I do love Haunted Mansion. One thing that I missed was in the exit, where you have the hitchhiking ghosts in Disneyland in California. That wasn't what they had in Disneyland Paris. They only had the bride who was in your buggy. But that was super fun. They had super fun merch. They had a Stitch Phantom Manor stuffed animal that I can't collect everything I love. It's just, I love so much. So I didn't get that, but I did try to see what kind of pins they had. Like I said, the pins that they had were limited. They were definitely not as extensive on offer that I thought they would have. After Frontierland, we ended up heading over to Tomorrowland. At the time, it was sort of in the morning. That was a little disappointing because the Buzz Lightyear was closed. Autopia, for a German, Autopia is not really that fun. I'll be honest with you. It is true in Germany that the Autobahn is limitless. So you can basically drive as fast as is safe for you and your car. I don't drive very fast on the Autobahn. I have a little car, and I also my reaction time is normal. It's not hyper, and I prefer to just go at a regular pace, but a lot of people, they go by with like 200 miles an hour. But of course you have to be able to see to judge and estimate times and distance, and I'm not good at that. So anyway, the point being, Autopia, we saw it, we checked it out, but we didn't go on it. Star Wars Hyperspace Mountain, I decided at that point, I wasn't sure if I wanted to go on it. It was, did say for people with back problems, not a great ride. So I thought maybe later could think about it. We went on the Nautilus, which was basically a walkthrough, also only in French. And that was Tomorrowland. It seemed a little thin for us, the Tomorrowland visit, and we went off to Fantasyland. Fantasyland is one of my favorites, and we went on my absolute favorite ride. I love It's a Small World. I do collect pins for It's a Small World, and I love that it's international. And this was honestly the most beautiful small world that I have seen. I do have some videos and some photos from that I will show you. It was so glittery good, just beautiful and fun. I absolutely loved it. After Small World, oh, and I do have to say, the park, like, because we didn't have to wait in line, it was doable. Disneyland Paris was way smaller than, in terms of area, than Disneyland Resort in California, absolutely. So then we went on to Adventureland, and the third ride that we went on was Pirates of the Caribbean, also an absolute favorite of mine, and that was just in French, so that was a little disappointing. I did feel like it probably was because of the language, but it wasn't. They had scenes that were reminiscent, but it wasn't the same build up. It was a different, like, I love in California, you come through, there's doors that open, and then you sort of go down into the pirates world, and this was different. So it wasn't, the story hung together better for me in Disneyland Resort in California. But of course, I loved the Pirates ride. Aladdin was a walkthrough. So the walkthrough is probably super fun if you have little kids. For us, it wasn't that exciting, but you know, we had to check it out. The Swiss Family Robinson, which I have an attraction map puzzle for that. That was not doable for us. It had a lot of stairs. You had to walk up the stairs and everything. Fourth ride that I went on that day was Indiana Jones. That was just a roller coaster. It actually was a loop roller coaster, and it had seats that close over your head. So it was really definitely had a warning for people with back issues. And I've never been on it before, so I can't compare it to anything, and I've never seen it. I do feel like the story was missing. Like, it might be because I didn't wait in line. I just went through to priority access, but it was a roller coaster. The things I love about Disneyland aren't necessarily a fast roller coaster. It's the story that goes along with it. So it's like the whole experience. So it was good, but it was a good roller coaster. But you know, I only went on it once, and that was enough. What I heard about Disneyland Paris, and is true, there were a lot of shows and there were a lot of character meet and greets. That is something that a lot of guests really want to do. I was really tempted when I saw Judy. I really wanted a photo with Judy. We ended up not getting any photos, but we did. I saw Pluto. I saw Goofy. And those are also priority access, so I don't, like, if I go and I show my card, I don't have to stand in line, which is nice. The weather, oh my gosh. The funny thing is we actually ended up traveling. It was a gift for my birthday, the 3 days. So the one day was for my birthday, the other day was for Valentine's Day, and the third day was for the day when we met. We celebrate every year the day when we meet, when we met the very first time. So that was my why we did 3 days. And we chose to go, we planned to go in May because the weather, when my birthday is a little bit colder, and so we were hoping for sunny weather. It poured rain in the afternoon. So on our first day on Sunday, it poured, and we ended up buying a poncho. I actually got one. My husband was like, I'll dry off. And I was like, no, I saw them everywhere and they were selling them. So I went ahead and grabbed a poncho, which was super helpful. And we chose to do on a budget. We knew we would get breakfast at the hotel. So we ate breakfast at the hotel. We had a snack if we needed one. I didn't really need one. I would have liked better coffee. I will be honest with you, the coffee the entire time was not yummy. I'm like a coffee buff. And I'm picky now about the coffee I drink. I was hoping they would have Joffrey's, like I hear from Stephanie, always from Disney with Lizzie, always rewards herself with coffee when she plays like Pingo and those kind of things. And I thought, oh, a good coffee would be so awesome. And they only had coffee, in Germany we call them Vollautomat. So it's like an automated coffee machine that will grind and press and brew the coffee as a cup. And they all had Sagfredo. Sagfredo is an Italian bean, and some people may like it, and that's fine. I tend to like we're so picky about our coffee. We drink, like, if you don't know, for coffee lovers, there are different kinds of coffee beans, and a lot of people advertise Arabica. Now, Arabica is a more expensive bean because it's harder to grow. It grows up higher in the mountains, and we actually found that we like Robusta is a type of coffee bean, and they're called that because they're actually quite robust and they grow at lower levels. Why is this interesting? Because they taste different. And so we I like a strong coffee with a well-rounded flavor. And if it's just Arabica and it's sort of got a lot of acidity to it, so it's kind of bitter and acid, not my favorite coffee. So I was really disappointed. There was a Starbucks in the train station, so that coffee does taste good. I do like Starbucks coffee, especially with some kind of syrup and milk. Back to the food, which is why I was telling you about the coffee. So I would generally get a coffee as a treat, and I did. And then we also had, I'm trying to think, on that day, I think we got nachos. They had nachos in Frontierland across from Big Thunder Mountain, and so we got nachos, and those were good. But so we had a breakfast buffet, and then we had a snack, and then we decided we went for a buffet dinner every day. So that way we would definitely get a good meal. And the first day, on Sunday, we ended up going to Agrabah, which was in I should know that. Is that in Adventureland, maybe? I will let you know in the comments, or I will let you know below. And it was delicious. You paid when you went in, and it came with a drink. You could order more, of course, if you wanted. But the buffet was absolutely delicious. I will say they pay a lot of attention to food allergies. So if you were vegan, if you were gluten, if you were whatever kind of allergy you had, no matter where we were, they always were very careful about that. We're lucky. We don't actually have any allergies. So that was really, really nice to know, though. I do have friends and family that need to pay attention to that kind of thing. But the food was so exotic. It was absolutely delicious, and it was a mix between everything. There was Moroccan food, there was falafel, there was baba ganoush, there was curry. So it was a whole mix of sort of I don't know what you would call that. And I was really happy for my poncho. It poured all the way to the hotel. So because the day started before 3 a.m. for us, We did not manage to make it to the end of the day. Park festivities at the park. At the end of the day, they did offer a parade. We did see a parade during the day, which was super fun. The parade, they do that more than once, but we missed out on the light show in the evening. Oh no, that on that day, because of the rain, the evening show was actually canceled due to the weather. And we walked down Main Street, of course, checking. I love Main Street because on the way out, when you're done for the day, you can check out all the stores. I was definitely checking out the merchandise. So these are all the pins that I saw that day. Let's see, there's the Disneyland Paris pins. I think those have been out since January. These are the ones that month, like the My First pins. These are really cute little Disneyland Paris sets. They had the pins of the month are those little jelly pins. There's some older pins. These are the pins from last month. So if I hadn't gotten those, I would have been able to get those. They also had the princess pins and some older pins. So I was really happy about the Cinderella. And look, here's the Stitch and the Zootopia. So there wasn't, like I said, I mean, there were definitely older pins there, but there weren't a whole bunch of older pins. They're mostly from this year. And yeah, so a lot of them I already had. And then, of course, I had to check out the Aristocats merch. Look how cute it is. I love it. This was so adorable. I did see someone on the bus wearing this. Adorable. This was a really nice. They also have a pin that matches that. I personally like the shirts that are in cream. I love this shirt. I did not buy anything. I just wanted to sort of scope out what was where and figure out in terms of budget and how much space I had in my luggage, what I could fit, what I could afford. I was able to find neat pins to purchase. I was looking for a friend and of course for me, not just for my collections but also good traders. And I was able to trade with cast members twice. And I was actually able to trade for a Figaro fish, which was super exciting because you hear a lot that they're faked, but I have a real respect for how careful they are at Disneyland Paris. It doesn't necessarily mean that there's absolutely no fakes on the board, but they are very, very careful. So I felt confident trading for that one. That is a set that I would like the authentic pins for. I would really like the authentic pins for that. So yeah, traveling from home through the airport to the hotel, back to the park, through the park, back to the hotel, that was a lot of steps. And I was done for the day. So the shuttle worked fine, but of course it was crowded. I do have to say the park itself was not crowded on Sunday. It was crowded in the shops because everyone was fleeing from the rain. I did actually on Sunday, day one, I did not find any pin boards at all, although I asked everywhere except at the trading post. So that was kind of disappointing. There were not a lot of trades. That was the only day that I was also able to make trader to trader trades. So from not on the boards, not from a cast member, but just like a regular visitor who was also a pin trader. That was the only day I was able to do that, and I will show you the pins that I was able to trade for. There is also a pin trading cart on Main Street that I discovered. So I loved all the rides, but they were also very different from the ones that I know. But they were close enough to the rides that my husband, who hasn't been so often, I think he's only been 2 or 3 times, for him they were the same. So that was funny. He was disappointed. I knew he would be. There was no Star Wars Land. There's no Galaxy's Edge. So there was no Rise of the Rebellion. There was no Millennium Falcon. And Star Wars Hyperspace Mountain is a roller coaster. So that was no good. But that was day one. At the end of the day, I went home to our hotel and I sorted out my pins and took photos so I would know what I traded out, what I traded in, and I want to be able to show you all of that. And that was day one. So do let me know if this was helpful. If there were details that were interesting for you, I would like to know what sort of perked your interest. And if there's anything that I didn't offer that you have questions about, do let me know in the comments. I'm super happy to share what I know. Obviously, that's why I'm doing this YouTube channel. It's just fun for me to be able to explore, discover, learn, and then hopefully share with people that it's helpful to. That was day one, vlog one here on the banks of our local canal, and I will be doing a vlog for every day, so stay tuned. I will be posting those. Do give me a like and subscribe for more so I can hopefully see you next time. Bye for now.